Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Carlson here. We're going to look at Chapter 3 of Typee. In Chapter 3, as we continue our exotic travel story, we have a good, plausible, hard-hitting reason why our narrator, Mr. Melville, later known as Tomo, hates the French. Now, I've been mentioning it before, but this is the chapter. If you weren't persuaded before, this is the chapter that's going to do it for you. All right, so what do the French bring to this battle? Well, it's like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight, and that's kind of what they're doing. So remember, just a few weeks before Melville gets there to the island of Typee, the French have taken over the island. It was a top-secret mission. Only the admiral, and I'll show you this picture in a second, only the admiral of the ship really knew what was going on. So what are they doing? Just stealing from other cultures. That's what they do. You got to also kind of think of this chapter, Melville, like, hey, America and England kind of did this too, but that's for higher level thinking, and that's very, very important. I'll probably develop that more. But just coming back to your head, start thinking like, okay, hypocrite a little bit. But anyway, double banked frigate. That's what they are bringing, and it has 2 levels. All right, that's what the double banked is. Had to Google it. They have even more room for guns. So just in case you weren't sure, they brought 4 of those. The French did. They brought Corvettes, not the car, which people my age get to feel younger. No, Corvette, as in the little bit lower battleship, a little bit just a notch below the frigate, which I just showed you. So they bring 3 Corvettes, 4 battleships, all right, 3 Corvettes. He says basically they have about 80 cannons locked and loaded against people, as he says, basically live in bamboo huts and coconut groves. All right, so what he's trying to do is emphasize to you through juxtaposing this, comparing it, is how we have a huge armada locked and loaded to take on guys who live in huts. All right, which is cool. You know, they're more dangerous to each other than they are to other people in the universe. They're not necessarily taking over other islands. They just battle among themselves, which people love to do. So why are they doing this? And this is what really irritates Melville. You got to have a face on a villain, right? Rear Admiral Dupuis, good-looking Frenchman. He's the one who knew the top-secret mission. He also winds up going to Tahiti because they thought they didn't pay enough respect to the French flag. And he basically says, give me $30,000 to the Tahitians. And so they have a little bit more colonization going on here with our friends, the French. So just once again to emphasize it, what do they bring? He says a 9-pounder. Kind of sounds like a alcoholic drink or something. But no, 9-pounder are the cannons that he has. And as you caught in that chapter, they've also built sort of primitive, the French have built sort of primitive fortifications on the island. And they've dug, calls it a tress, I believe, which is a circle. No, fosse, F-O-S-S-E, pronounced fosse. They have dug trenches around their battlements, and they put 9-pounders, okay, 9-pound cannonball, all right. They have put 9-pounders on the island for people, once again, who live in bamboo huts and coconut groves. So it doesn't take a super moral genius or big-hearted human being to possibly say, as he landed this island, this seems messed up, as you kids would say. So not only do they have massive artillery, oh, we love the French, do we not? They come out each day on the beaches, and they march out in their martial array. As he says, they have gold lace and embroidery. So they get real dutied up for this, and they do drills and marching right in front of the natives, just to, as you could say, flex on our native friends. So Melville, no likey. And if you weren't 100% sure, he tells you once again, he no likey. He rips the French. He says the French present themselves as the most humane and polished of nations. But even the most humane and polished of nations have wicked propensities. So he is not a big fan. He basically says, Just leave the natives alone, man. This is messed up. As I mentioned before, our French friends also went over to Tahiti. They demanded the $20,000 to $30,000 because they had disrespected the French flag. So that same rear admiral went over and did that in Tahiti. He does offer two humorous stories. You know, Melville, he had to let it out. He had to get out his moral outrage, and then he had to give us two lighter versions, little stories here. So let's go with, I guess, the Big Hog. All right, Big Hog. Natives have on this Polynesian island, Typee, had never seen a horse before. They hadn't seen a blacksmith either. The blacksmith was like #1 on TikTok, but then the horse came to town and totally upped the horse's TikToks. And now this is the coolest TikTok. So blacksmith was super cool. Natives like, what is he doing? I don't understand. And then they bring out the horse. And then, of course, the natives like, I don't know what to call it. They don't have the word horse. So they just call it Big Hog. Like, Big Hog, Big Hog. It's running around, and they love the horse. It's a great, what do you say, the greatest creature in the zoological family or something like that? That's nerdy humor. That's a good joke, Melville. And then, lastly, good old Herm. Just to show his kind of hypocritical bias towards the English. The English are over there in Tahiti, and as they're out there, the French say, we need you to take down the Union flag, all right, the Union Jack, as the British love to call it. And the old lady on the island says, I'm not going to do it. And the French said, well, you need to do it. And she says, all right, you have the rear admiral, once again, Mr. Petit, you have him come over and he can bring the flag down. Well, it just so happens she had the flag flying right by her house, and she had the rope that leads to it right into her bedroom where she's knitting. And she says, if that guy's got the guts to come in here and tell me to put that flag down, you tell him, come on over, and I'll do it. But the admiral demurred the invitation to go take down the Union Jack, and the British flag kept flying. So, interesting little chapter. Starts off with moral outrage, and he calms down a little bit, and he gets a couple sort of light-hearted instances. How the natives didn't know what a horse was, and how an old lady with her knit needles basically said, France, back off. All right. So anyway, chapter 3. Chapter 4 gets into, let me tell you my story. All right. So Melville goes lawyer, and he tries to make a great legal argument for the reason in which he deserted the Dolly. So you can see I would like to have Herman Melville as my lawyer, because that guy, pretty well organized argument he makes in chapter 4. Anyway, boy.